Hey, what's good? What's going on, y'all? Y'all already know who this is, and it's definitely your favorite soulful child. Yeah. Coming back at you once again, y'all. Hey, y'all already know I come with Artist of the Week, sharing so many frequency with y'all, but I got a special guest in the building today, and I hope she don't take me for messing up her name. It's okay. I'm gonna try my best. All right, I may say the first few words, but her name is AKOSUA Cassaberry. All right, and AKOSUA
Yes.
Cassaberry, man. And she's in the building. You know what I'm saying? She's here to share the African pride to everyone around the world. And if you hating, it's okay. We're gonna uplift you anyway. We're gonna vibe in. So hey, everybody get a round of applause. Welcome in good energy to AKOSUA Cassaberry. I'm probably gonna have to get a nickname.
That's all right. That's all right. AKOSUA.
AKOSUA. It's like a coast. Okay,
Yes.
AKOSUA. All right, Cassaberry, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me, Shar.
It's all love, man, y'all. I don't know if y'all know, but she's also an author, and she's an author. She wrote her first book of why pregnancy was important for women. So she'll be able to share that piece to her journey, why she decided that was important, because there's so many babies being made, especially during COVID. Quarantine babies are out, so everybody's pregnancy is important, all right? And she's here to uplift women around the world. And we're going to dive into her. So, look, hey, y'all want to stay tuned because she's going to give her social media out. And if y'all want to follow up with her, they're going to be the time you do it. And if you miss out, just come back and replay because we here all day, every day. All right, at the P.E.G podcast, y'all. Hey, so AKOSUA. Did I say it right? AKOSUA.
Yes.
I'm going to get it.
You're going to get it.
I'm going to get it. Hey, so it was a story to hear, but I want the people to hear it from you and tell everyone who is AKOSUA Cassaberry.
Yes. All right. So, hi everyone. My name is AKOSUA Cassaberry. I am Ghanaian American. I was born in Kukurantumi, which is in Ghana, West Africa. And when I was young, my parents moved to Harlem, New York. When I was young, so I was raised in Harlem. I went to elementary school, middle school, high school in Harlem, and I went to college in Pennsylvania. I went to Allegheny College. And I went to study English with an emphasis in creative writing. And so right now I am the founding CEO of a publishing firm based in the Bronx, New York. And I help people with their manuscripts. We also help graduate students, undergraduate students with their personal statements. We help with grant proposals, everything writing related. And I'm married to my husband, Trevor Cassaberry, who also is a business owner. And we have a beautiful daughter who you guys see right now, Madison Cassaberry.
Beautiful faces, beautiful family. Why we can't connect without the kids? They're always there. That's why we gotta spread positive energy around the world and be out there pushing each other further because we have kids watching this, right? We have kids around here that's looking for different inspirations, and who knows? She's gonna be the next business owner. She may be out here be the next president. So hey, y'all better watch out for Maddie. Maddie gonna take over the world, y'all. She's gonna take over the world. So look, why would you say you decided to write your book about pregnancy? I know you were sharing it with me and I actually read pieces of it and it's very, very interesting. I shared it with my wife because she has kids before. So, why did you feel like that was important to do?
Definitely. So I wrote Why Every Pregnant Woman Should Write a Book after a pretty traumatic experience. I was working in corporate America and I was office administrator for a engineering firm based downtown New York. And when I found out I was pregnant and I told my, boss, a couple months later, I got fired. So I was fired while I was 5 months pregnant with my daughter, Madison. And, needless to say, I was just feeling in, a very vulnerable situation. And I didn't know, what my next step was going to do. The one thing that I get asked a lot is, why didn't you or did you apply to jobs after you were fired? And my answer is always, yes, I applied to jobs. But it just, it was more difficult than I expected it to be. So, I was temping before I got that position as an office admin. I was temping for a whole year. And with temping, it's, fast paced, and you might have a gig for one day, for 1 week, for 1 month. Like, you just kind of never know. And I had been laid off before while I was temping, but it wasn't the same. I didn't go through the same experience that I went through. But I resulted back into, trying to get into temping because you kind of get a quicker exchange. And I was trying to have my baby bump. And, at the same time, I wanted to be honest about my position with employers, because the reality of the situation was, if I got hired, I'll be going on maternity leave not that long after. And that's a lot for any company to commit to. So I had to just accept the situation for what it was. And it was really difficult. So, my husband, we sat down and he was just like, well, what are you going to do? And in the back of my mind, I was like, this is the right time to write a book, to publish a book. And I had been interested in self-publishing. I told, one of my friends, and she sent me, different things to look up, to research, to watch. And I did additional research. And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And I felt confident. So I already wrote, I had a senior thesis project for college. And I knew that I wanted to publish it, but I didn't think that I was going to do it at that time. I kind of, thought of it as something I'll do later on. But it just was the right time. So I dusted it off. I added some poems. I got an editor, and I put that out in 2018. And so Why Every Pregnant Woman Should Write a Book is actually my third book. And I wanted to show women the benefits of writing a book. The financial benefits, emotional, mental, physical benefits of writing a book. And I wanted to document my story in addition to the stories of 4 other women in my life who have played a huge role in my experience while I was pregnant and after I gave birth. And they share their stories as well, some powerful stories, bringing up a lot of topics that, we get to share with the world.
Right. Hey, that's crazy. Did you think when you got pregnant that you was gonna go through all that, especially with the job? Did you think
I had no clue. I didn't think that was going to happen at all. And it just felt like a bad dream. It's so crazy, though, because the day I got fired on my train ride home, my mind was racing. And I was just thinking about, like, what am I going to do? How am I going to survive? And at some point, though, like, I had a long train ride home all the way downtown. I was going uptown to the Grand Concourse in the Bronx. And I just was over it. Like, I was just like, you know what? I don't even care. Like, it was just like a release, even though, that whole time on the train, I was panicking. At some point, I was just like, I'm indifferent about this whole situation. But, when I told my husband I want to write a book, he's like, all right, if this is something you want to do, you got to create a business around it. Because, I didn't want to be the cliche struggling writer, because that's a real thing. And I didn't want to have to go through that. And I definitely don't want pregnant women to go through that. So it was important to highlight, how to write a book that sells. And I've had to go through my journey as a self-published author and sharing that experience, really just sharing my entire upbringing, to get people to trust me and trust, my business, as well as being vulnerable enough to show the experiences that women go through. Because, the one thing that is the common factor is pregnancy and motherhood. And I
Right.
wanted to, highlight that in a way that empowers pregnant women and mothers.
Why do you think that in like corporate America situations like that happen? Because if it happened to you, you can probably guarantee it happened to other women that became pregnant. So why do you think that actually happens in corporate America?
Yeah, it's so crazy. I actually, when I was posting the videos about my book and sharing my story, I got someone who commented that they went through the same experience, and I was just like, wow. But oh man, Shar, that's a tough question, because corporate America, I mean, to be honest, I wasn't fulfilled and I wasn't happy.
Right.
There's a lot that comes with working in corporate America that I wasn't able to express, because that was my bread and butter. That's how I was making my money. And I didn't have no backup plan. So all of those things that I, felt at the time was kind of just something I had to deal with. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's tough. That's tough because, I mean, I don't know which angle to go with, because corporate America kind of is, this spinning wheel of competition.
Right.
And pregnant women definitely, get the blow if you're not able to perform, or even the cost that, comes to play, and how that can be manipulated against you. So, yeah, that's a tough question.
But it's good because it's kind of like pushed you into your passion, to actually write a book that'll be able to help. And maybe this was just maybe that situation is what meant at the time for you, to push
It
yourself.
feels like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it, because I remember when I got my first client, what that felt like. It was just, I never felt something like that before. And it was so fulfilling. Like, so yeah, I definitely agree. Because that, that security that I thought I had was gone, and I had to fight. So yeah.
That's the scary part, because most people don't even think that far. They don't think that far. I may lose my 9 to 5, or what is something that, especially I feel like with guys, that probably don't ever come across their mind, because they don't run into pregnancies and dealing with the kids 24/7. So more like when it came to you, it could have been just like you said, that time, and then with that burning desire, you was able to turn a negative and bad situation, and now you're able to build a legacy for Maddie, you and your husband. So it's like so dope to see that, although that happened and it was sad to see, and sad for you to go through, it was meant for you to flourish, shine your light. So
Definitely.
that's crazy. And
yeah, it was crazy, because I hadn't written, I probably didn't write for a year while I was working at that job. I didn't write because, I mean, that's not, that's not how I was making my most of my money. And so it was kind of just like a hobby. And I didn't realize, like, going so long without being in touch with that creative side, what that did over time. I like, that was just not, it didn't click to me. I wasn't aware of any of that until I went through that and realized how much I really let go, just, from that 9 to 5 wheel, that 9 to 5 cycle. But yeah, here we are.
Hey, what would you say to mothers right now that's maybe going through that situation, or could possibly go through that situation? What would you say to them that was the hardest thing for you to get over, to encourage them to push forward?
I would say definitely get your support system, because that's really crucial and important for all mothers, honestly. And I would also say the hardest thing that I went through was gaining back the confidence in my ability to be a contributing person in society. It took me several months. If I'm being honest, of just feeding myself, rebuilding myself. Because, I mean, when I left, I felt like their intention was to bring me down.
Right.
And I held on to that for months. I was able to push through. I had one of my friends tell me, you need to, apply for unemployment. right? And you need to get this ball rolling. You know, my husband telling me, all right, you're going to write this book. Let's create a business. My friend sending me videos on how to self-publish. That support system helped me push through because I needed it. I really, really needed it. So yeah, I would say that's the biggest thing.
That is really, really huge, for you to say that in a moment of where you felt like your identity was taken, where you felt like you was helpless or hopeless, you was able to find who you truly are, shine your light. So yeah, that was like meant to happen, that was a lesson, guys. Where
huge lesson, huge lesson, because I can't, I felt like I had a false sense of financial identity, financial stability, but I'm relying on somebody else. Like none of that, I didn't understand it. But when you really have to figure it out for yourself and build it for yourself, it is going to change you. It's really going to change you, and it's going to show you who you are. And that's exactly what I went through. Because now I'm in tune. Once I said I'm going to do this publishing thing, I became it. I mean, I swallowed it whole, and I, tried to build up where my place is within the industry, because it's so much in itself, right? So it was just like, okay, what are my morals? What are my goals? What do I want to help people? What do I want to put out there? All of that are just things that were dormant. I wasn't thinking about none of that. I'm stressed. I got to go home, then, come back and do it all over again. My boss is an asshole, just a bunch of stuff. But, to be my own boss, really, I mean, that really showed me who I am. Like, and again, the support system, I talk about that a lot, because I realized I cannot do all this by myself. It's impossible. And I'm not meant to do this by myself. And I don't want anyone to feel ashamed for asking for help.
Man, that's true.
Yeah.
I told you Maddie was going to be a superstar. I told you she's out here pushing you through pregnancy to do this, and do that, and do this, and do that. So just being in the womb, she was able to push you to greatness. So, hey, the world better watch out for Maddie. She's going to tear this world up, man. I'm telling you. She's going to tear it up. You also spoke on something very interesting. You said support system. Have that strong support system. But what about the ones that say, I don't have a support system? I only have me and my child. Where do you think would they go? What would you advise for that?
Oh man, when I get that question, that one's still tough. But I would say, who's in your life, and who are you intentionally building relationships with? Because not your family members not going to be the ones encouraging you all the time. It might be someone you went to college with, went to school with, someone you worked with. And if you'll be able to really tell how genuine those relationships are, because if you ask for something and they do it without a question, then that's a relationship that you should keep and nourish. And if you find that the people who you thought you could rely on and you actually can't, then you need to, quickly, navigate that and move your energy towards something else. But you want to let your guard down. Obviously, some people you don't know where their intentions are, but you want to be, you want to have discernment as best as you can, because it's impossible to do it by yourself. So if you don't have the support system, I'd say, just start journaling, getting your thoughts out, figuring out where you are, commit to something that you can be consistent with, something that you can actually say, I'm committed to this and I've been doing this for a year or 2 years or 3 years, and then slowly build your circle, slowly build your network. Yeah. That's what I would say.
It's getting heated. I don't know if y'all taking these down mothers around the world, but y'all need to. If you feel like you're alone right now, I'm here to constantly show y'all, no matter what you do, no matter where you set out in life, you are not alone. You want to be a publisher and you're a mother. Look, hey, examples all around the world that you can reach out to them, you can ask questions, and who knows, that may be the next person that was supposed to motivate you to do what you got to do. So, yo, y'all want to stay tuned. But before we go any further, man, I always got to give it up to the Most High, because without the Most High, we would not be here. So we're going to take a moment to give it back up to the Most High. And, hey, I always ask the guests to come on and say a little word of prayer. But if you're not comfortable, I will take the lead and say the word of prayer. So would you be willing to lead us in the word of prayer?
I absolutely would. I absolutely would. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Okay. Father God, I ask that you bless everyone watching this, the hosts, the guests, continue to push us forward in this moment where there's a lot of uncertainty and just things that we could not have predicted. Keep us, in tune with ourselves and continuing to do what best serves us, and also continuing to be positive and loving to the people in our lives. When this world can be cruel, this world can be, confusing, continue to give us that discernment, continue to give us that peace of mind that we're all looking for and searching for. Amen.
Amen. Yo, it's fire. It's lit. Yo, frequencies are being raised. If y'all looking for positive energy, tap in right now. There's AKOSUA. You gotta say it right now. AKOSUA. I'm gonna get it for this thing.
You're gonna get it.
AKOSUA is dropping gems on y'all, man. She is here and she's showing nothing but light inside herself, and Maddie is too. And if y'all miss Maddie, y'all just missed it.
She with daddy now.
She's like a whirlwind, man, but she's gonna change the world just like you, man. And it's important for us to know that we're all examples for all kids. I feel like people feel like just because they don't have children, they're not an example. But there's someone watching you. Whether it's a little niece, a little cousin, they're all watching you, and somebody is looking up to you right now. So you better watch out. You're doing wrong. Your little cousin gonna do wrong because they're watching you. All right. If all you mothers out there, y'all doing right, keep doing right. No matter what they say, you keep going forward, because look, AKOSUA, she's out here doing the thing.
Yes.
Out here doing it. So what would you say is your mission, after all this, and you wrote a book and you're out here inspiring, what would you say is your mission in life to do with what God has put you on earth to do? Share your light.
Definitely. I would say my mission is definitely to empower via creative writing. I love the English language, and I especially love poetry. And I believe that everyone is a writer. I know some people don't see themselves that way, but we all have stories to tell. And my mission is just to help people tell their stories, that'll make them proud and to their best ability, and to, share their voice with the world. I have clients who have stories and they want to be, an example. They want to be able to be on different platforms to share their story. And my mission is I'm there to assist. I'm there to help.
Be that vessel, basically. Be that vessel for the next person. I like that. You're not just thinking about yourself, because I sometimes see like people think about themselves when they start things, and when it don't go right, and like, I can't do it. It's because you had the word I in everything. It's a we, we all can help each other to do something. So the fact that you I put myself in a position to value others and spread their light, that helps you shine yours so much more.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. 100% agree.
That's better than cocoa butter, I swear. I swear. Yo, you're definitely an inspiration. I swear you are.
Thank you.
It motivates mothers and people who are not mothers, even fathers, sisters and brothers out there, to be the best version of themselves, Yes. And you talk about poetry. That's my thing. I love talk about poetry. So what is something about poetry that connects you?
Oh man, I would say I was intimidated by poetry for a bit. And I didn't really understand it when I was younger. And so when I got to college, I took a Poetry 101 course and I fell in love.
Yeah.
And my first assignment was to write a poem about cayenne pepper. And Yeah, no. And it was supposed to force me to have physical description. That was the whole purpose of that writing assignment. How well can you physically describe something like cayenne pepper? And when I tell you, I never actually put that much effort into looking at the color of cayenne pepper, the smell, when it gets grounded into seasoning for us to use, the noise that it makes. In the poem I have, it shakes like gourd shakers from Ghana, the music instrument. And I had to make it come to life. And that's what poetry does. That's what I fell in love with. And I recently, have found myself in the spoken word community. That space is crazy, yo. They get busy in the spoken word community. And I realized, there's so much for me to learn because I was just a writer. I'm not going to lie. I was a poet that just wrote, and I'm not trying to perform. But for the senior thesis project, we had like a senior gathering where we all had to perform our pieces, nonfiction, poetry, fiction, all that. And that was the first time I performed my poetry. And the feedback was really good. People were really receptive. They came up to me and told me they really enjoyed my poetry, and it sounded good. And now that I'm back into doing that, it's the same thing. And I go to these virtual open mics. I love connecting with poets, sharing, connecting. And yeah, man, poetry is just, it holds the space for so many voices that I'm biased, but nothing else like that does what poetry does. And I do believe that it's actually a healing tool for a lot of people. When I read Lucille Clifton, when I had read her poetry, she wrote letters, and that's what inspired me to write letters as poems. And I've been able to heal from my own poetry, and I see the same thing with other people.
Yeah, I think poetry is dope. Like, I love poetry. My mom can tell you, like, I am poetry fanatic. Like, I used to be in class, me and my friend, childhood friend, we used to be in class having poetry battles. Like, he would write one line and I write another line. He may write two.
Yes.
They're like, what are y'all doing? Writing love notes? Like, no. Right? And I remember one time the teacher called us, like, going back and forth with the paper. So he was like, read it. And it was so funny, right? It was so funny because everybody was like, when we read it, everybody was like drawn into our conversation. But it was just a poetry battle. Like, we were just talking back and forth, and it was really dope. And he gave me like this assignment. He was like, I'm gonna enter this contest. It was senior year. I'm gonna enter this contest. You should do it. And I'm like, I just like writing to myself.
Yes.
I already know. He's like, man, you're dope, bro. Just do it. So it was like free entry, So I did it, and it was over 200 people that could be picked out of.
Wow.
And him was picked out the top 10 people.
Yes.
To go to the final round, right? And I was like, I showed my mom. I was like, yo, this ain't real. And we looked it up, and everything, it was real. Like, it was real.
Wow.
Like, so we had to write another poetry to get in the last final rounds, right? So I did one about it was about slavery, but I can't remember how I named it. I still got the book to this day, but it was about slavery, but it was like modern day slavery, right? It was so deep. It's so deep.
Wow.
Me and him we had to go into the top 2, and it was me versus him. And I was like, out of 200 people, how did we? And then we had to write, and we had to do our submit it to the head doing in charge. And I won number 1.
Yes.
I was like, what? Then it was so crazy. They sent us medals. They gave us they gave everybody that did the poetry slam, they put all their poems in a book. My mom still got that book. And then the winner, which was me, and then the runner-up, which was him, both of our poetries inside the book was featured inside the Congress. So like, if you go, the House of Congress has that book.
Yes,
like, that is so dope, right?
Dope, that's mad dope.
Many people don't even know that about me because I don't really talk about it because it happened. I'm like, it happened, I'm like,
right.
But that's really dope because I'm like, yo, out of so many people, they looked at mine and was like, this was deep, you know what I'm saying? So I'm
dope.
So my music too, when I do music, I write in poetry. I don't honestly know how to write outside of poetry. Like I used to do poetry a lot, but when it came to stories, I would write them in like poetry, and my English teacher had to like reverse me, you know, because she showed
Wow.
me like different ways to write a story. It can
Yes.
sound like poetry, but it's still in the structure of a story, right? So that's how I do my music. Like I started writing poetry and I put it into my music. And when people hear that today, they be like, "Where did you come up with that?" And I'm like, I have a song. And everybody, look, I'm featured everywhere, and it's called A Stripper's
Let me
Prayer.
write it down. Let me write that
I'll
down.
even send you the link. It's called A Stripper's
Yes, send me the link. And are you on Spotify?
Yeah, I'm on
Okay.
Spotify. It's
I will
called
definitely
A Stripper's Prayer. It's actually on P.E.G too, so I'll send it to you. And like I said, it's
Perfect.
called A Stripper's Prayer. And I've never been a stripper in my life. Never, ever been a stripper in my life. But I had so much emotions. I had got away from music. I had got away from writing when my grandma passed away. It was so much going on. I wasn't connected with nothing, you know. And I just was sitting in the house one day. I'm like, I want to find a beat, a poetry beat, and I just want to put poem to it. And then I asked my mom. I said, "Give me a topic." Why did my mom pick a stripper? I don't know. I said, "Mom, give me a topic." And she was like, "What kind of topic?" I said, "Anyone." She said, "A stripper." I'm like, "A stripper? Why would you pick a stripper?" Because my idea, what I was trying to go with, like, I want to give a visual of life, but something I'm not, but put my feelings into it. And it's just like a stripper. I was like, "You're gonna challenge me to write a stripper, right?" I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I've never been a stripper in my life, but I wrote it, and it's called A Stripper's Prayer. And my auntie, everybody teared up when they heard it, and they're like, "Are you a stripper?" I am not a stripper, you know.
Like,
I don't. She's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "I'm very sure. I have never been a stripper. I just felt like these emotions could be the same emotions that people may face, because people don't think strippers are people. And they're people. And even when they family member die, they have to still get up and go to work and provide."
Yes.
So I was like, I just put my feelings into the topic, and I just wrote it. And she
that's
was
the
like,
power of poetry.
"Yeah, I'm telling you." So I be telling people, look, my music ain't like everyone else. It's nothing but poetry. I don't know how to write any other way. And it's dope, no, you know. And so you said poetry slam. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to link up with you on that.
Yes,
because
girl.
you know, I
Yes.
love poetry. Like we could go on and on about it.
Wow.
I love poetry. It's very
Yes.
dope. And then we may can do some collaboration in this book that I'm coming out with. I'm not going to spoil the name, but it's going to be a book of poems. But it's going to have life lessons in there where people can see that so many others connected around the world just like them. So, hey, I might have to ask you to be in it. You feel me? You can help me out. You can help me out.
Of course. Yo, that sounds so dope.
Yeah, it's real dope. It's real
Who's your
dope
favorite poet?
Okay, so don't talk about me. My favorite poet, and maybe messed up, but Edgar Allan Poe. That's my favorite poet.
I wasn't expecting that. No, that's valid. That's valid.
And some people like, why him? Was he a little crazy? I was like, yeah, he was crazy.
Yeah.
He did it like his cousin or his sister or something like that. I was like,
they all have crazy stories.
Right. I was like, but that didn't have anything to do with me. This was just his writing. Right?
Yes.
He would take his life and he would write it, and you could get a visual. I'm like, Edgar Allan Poe. What's that, like Elizabeth? What is her name? Elizabeth. Can't think of her name, but she's a good one too. I like Maya Angelou. She's really dope too, but people sleep on Edgar Allan Poe. I'm like, no, he is dope. He is dope. I don't condone his outside life, but his poetry, you get lost in it. And when you can get lost in poetry or something somebody wrote, it's like watching a movie, but it's your visuals, you know?
Yes. So, oh, wow. Yeah. That's dope.
They have you ever seen on YouTube the Grand Slam poetry they be having on YouTube?
For you talking about Def Jam, or that's separate from that?
Nah, that's what I'm talking about. The Def Jam Grand Slam. Yeah. I love when they do. I'm like, I gotta get my writing up, you know?
Yes.
They out here killing it.
They be killing it. I feel the same way, man.
Yeah, they be really fire with it. I feel like they do this all day. That's all they do.
Right.
I'm like, I'm gonna have to get my pen game up.
Right.
So what would you say that far as like pregnancy, outside of poetry, but when you was going through your pregnancy, why do you say this is important for women? What about writing a book during their pregnancy would be beneficial to women?
Oh man, I would say while I was pregnant, I was writing. I mean, that's all I had left to do. And I was able to get everything out, everything out. And I actually lost my father while I was pregnant. He died in September of 2017, and my daughter was due November of 2017.
Oh man.
And so, I had to get through a lot of those emotions, mourning and grief, and what that looks for me, and allowing myself that space and creating that space. Writing was the best outlet for me, period. And I was able to write about my dad when I actually wrote my senior thesis project. You know how you get you have people who review it to give you feedback. And one of my reviewers, she told me, you didn't write any letters to your dad. And so when I came back around to it, it was just so crazy because, I'm fired. I'm ready to write this book. My dad passed away, and I was just like, I have to write these letters. That was the one thing that she told me should have been in the original book. And this is the time to do that. And so many things I had pent up, I let it out. I just let it go on paper. And my clients say all the time, the process from, your mind to on paper or your mind to a physical book, a copy of your book is transformative. You kind of go through the stages. Some people even, call it like, this is my baby when they write a book, because it really is that personable and that close to you. But yes, I mean, I was finally able to release that. And the one thing that I was searching for was peace of mind. And my writing helped me get to that peace of mind. Even with one of the women, her name is Tadija Morgraff. She's in the book. Yes, shout out to Tadija. And she shares in the book how she one day started journaling, and she was able to, gain perspective and objectively say, wow, everything that I was thinking that I'm looking at was negative. And sometimes you can miss that if you're holding it in. Right. But once you actually see it on paper, it's no erasing. There's no going back. It's in your face. And it gives you that perspective to, to be able to say, you know what? I don't like the way I'm thinking. I need to change my thoughts. I need to change my patterns. Ability to journal or write, whatever the case may be, and see your words, then you're able to, see what position you're in, where you at mentally, how's your headspace. And so for me, when I was writing while I was pregnant, I was able to, write about the love that I felt. I couldn't wait to meet my daughter, and those feelings. I couldn't wait to hold her. Writing to my daughter about her grandfather, who she will never meet. She'll see pictures of him. She'll hear me talk about how he raised us, how he was an English snob and why, I'm consistent the same way he was with English, and, reading is important and something that was passed down. He was, meticulous in that way. And those are the things that I wanted to be able to let go and write out. One, so my daughter can look at it, right? And then two, so that I can actually gain peace and relief, and forgiveness, all of the things that I needed to go through, all of the grief that I had to process. I was able to write it down. And, the beautiful thing about writing, and, once you publish, you get to edit down what you want. Because I'm not saying share everything with the whole world, but it was important for me, the vulnerable parts, the vulnerable moments that I share in the book are all connected to womanhood. And so it wasn't anything that wasn't unrelatable, and that was intentional. And so, yeah, I would say that writing is definitely for you. And the publishing part is when you get to clean it up, you know, you get to edit it and you get to present it the way that you're comfortable with, and reap the benefits from that, because I opened myself up to the world and, you know, everyone was so receptive. So, yeah, I would say that's why I hold poetry writing so near and dear, and why I strongly believe that it's beneficial to pregnant women and mothers.
It's therapeutic.
It's very therapeutic.
Very therapeutic, you know.
Absolutely.
And I really feel like that's my thing. I need to get back into like writing more, because like people tell me all the time, like, "Yo, man, you have nice, you know, you say things nicely, you know, you have your way with words." I'm like,
yes.
Always because I'm a poet. I love writing. I love playing with words. So I make it feel, you know, to get my point across, and that's important, you know. Being able to say it, put the emotion into it so people can feel, you know, not just hear what I'm saying, but you feel what I'm saying. And even when I'm gone, you're still thinking about it, you know. So yeah, I encourage all mothers out there to document and publish their pregnancy, you know, because I feel like that's a journey, like you said. You have a document trail where your daughter can read, see, and be a part of that world that maybe those people that was in that book are no longer with us, you know. So she'll have that grace of spirit, you know, to say, hey, I know exactly what my granddaddy did. I know what my mom did. I know what my dad did, you know.
Exactly.
And that's gonna push Maddie. It's gonna push her. She's the next Obama. You know what I'm saying? She's the next Obama. President Maddie. That's what's gonna happen. She's gonna look around and go say, "Yo, that's President Maddie." I know her. She tearing up. You know, it's the love for words. You know, just being able to express. And would you say that would be the reason why you fell in love with poetry?
Oh man, absolutely. I would say, oh man, that's great question, but it's definitely one of the reasons. I would say that, you know, my mother is an African woman to the core. And one of the characteristics that she has is a more passive nature. And so I even share in my second book, Dear Nice Girl, navigating that, because there's the lack of speaking up. And, you know, when you carry that into adulthood, you realize that that's really, you know, there's a lot of reasons why that's not necessarily the right way to navigate life. And so poetry helps you find your voice. And I needed to find my voice. And when I found my voice, it didn't go anywhere. It just, it gave me confidence. And I'll share a story too. So it's actually in college. I went to a PWI, okay. And so the one thing that I struggled with was not being exposed to Black writers. And then how myself being a Black writer, how that experience was. I was, for the most part, most of my classes, the only Black student in my poetry courses, especially when I got to the advanced poetry courses. And I realized, you know, the lack of value in my own writing within my poetry, you know, professor, and even how the students perceive my writing. And so there was one day I wrote this poem. It's called Blank Canvas. And I wanted to highlight all of the Black writers who have impacted me. And I wanted to make a statement with that poem. And I remember when I came in, because the one thing, the way that they set it up in that course, you give in your poems, you know, you hand them out, you have to print it for everybody to read, and then they come back, you know, we come back the next day or whatever the class schedule was. And if you're chosen for the person whose poet we read, then you talk about it. Everyone gets to talk about it. You kind of have to listen. And I remember I knew I was punching in that poem because I wanted my classmates, I wanted my professor to, you know, understand my perspective of being a Black student in this poetry course and feeling like Black writers are not being highlighted or showcased in the way that our other poets have in the course, and especially Black women writers.
Yeah.
And I went in there punching and I wanted to make a statement. And the class came in the next day and everyone was just like, wow, I mean, you know, just based off your demeanor, this poem is different from, and I was just like, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, it showed, I mean, I just knew my writing was my voice, and poetry helped me get there, to be able to stand on the things that I was feeling and believing and experiencing, but, you know, may have been a little shy to say up front. But now that we have this poem, it's like, all right, now we're going to talk about it. Now let's bring it up. You know what I'm saying? So I would say, like, I've had to, you know, find my voice, and I, you know, encourage other women. Like, that's one of the ways that you find your voices, definitely, is through your writing.
Yeah, I do agree. And I feel like when you said like you wanted to express the, you know, the issues of being the, you know, Black writer, not being able to praise them or having enough of them, because those courses are not easy courses to take.
No, they're not.
I actually, my freshman year of college, they stuck me in a high level class. It was like 4,000. It was like a 4,000 level class. Now I'm a freshman. I should have never been in that class. And you have to have a prerequisite class before you get into it. So to this day, I'm still confused of how I got into that class, because I didn't know anything. My schedule was preset, right? So I looked at it and I'm like, oh, it's poetry. But it said 1700 poetry. And I was like, don't know what that is about. But I was like, oh, okay, I'll just go. And I had never in my life, I understood what she was saying. All the time she was up there, I understood. But when it came down to like the assignment, I was blown away. I was like, I don't understand it, you know? So I would do it and she would give me a 70. I'm like, bro, I know for a fact I'm dope when it comes to poetry. Like, how did you grade me? And I'm talking about, I still had like a C in that class because it's just me not knowing where I was, you know, going. Right. And I think when we got ready to take our finals, she was like, oh, you know, you need this there to pass for the class. And then she was like, I told her, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to take the finals because I honestly should have said something in the beginning, but I don't know what's going on. I'm just, I felt like she was racist at first because I was like, you grade me really, really hard. And I see everybody else with these 80s and 90s, like, what am I doing wrong? But she said, oh, this is a good job. And then, but I got all these red marks on my paper. I'm like, what is going on? And so I went to talk to the dean administration, come to find out I should never supposed to be in that class. I was advanced for my age. And I was like, wow, I don't like 1700s. I just said that. I was like, I don't want to go back that far in poetry. It's too much going on. But I learned a lot about older poetry, you know, and there was a lot of Black people that they talked about in that class that I didn't know in those days that they wrote, you know. I like how they partnered with other white people and the white person helped put their stuff out. And I'm like, that's you know, I would have never known that. So poetry is hard sometimes.
Yes, and there's you know, different styles and you know, different countries too, like Italian poetry. We didn't really even go over African poetry. I had to do that on my own, but I didn't even, you know, you get so stuck in that, you know, certain curriculum, you forget, oh, wait a minute, there's Italian poetry, you know, there's poetry, Spanish poetry, but what about African poetry, you know, Guatemalan poetry and different things like that. So,
and that's what, like, when I did that competition I was just telling you about, when I did that, I was like, I wanted people to see like my point of view from a Black girl in a country town that probably won't get out, you know. And honestly, when it came to the slavery part, I remember what the name of the poem called. It was called Blood, Sweat, and Tears. All right. And I didn't mean for it to sound like slavery, but it talked about modern day slavery in my mind. So I would talk about myself, but then when I read it out loud to people, it was like, oh snap.
Wow.
This sounds like actual slavery.
Wow.
And I actually had to like do a lot because I had someone to study my poetry, and I had turn a project in, and this girl had stole my poem, The Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and I got recognized for it and everything. So we grading papers, and how ironic, I get her paper, right? And I'm sitting there looking at, they're like, oh, the teacher's telling us to read, and we're going to talk about the poem and break it down. I'm reading it. It sounds, I'm sorry. Let me go through my book. I look at my book, it's gone. I'm like, wait. So I'm like, this is mine. And the teacher's like, what do you mean? I said, this is mine. I brought it over to her, and she was like, it sounded so much like mine, but she wasn't for sure, right? And I was like, bet. I had carried that book around for a long time before my mom took it and framed it. All right, the book of poems with all the people in it. So I flipped up to the page. I was like, this is mine. And I'm talking about word for word for word. She
was on her B. Simone.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, I would have wrote a different one for you or something, you know. I was like, that was all me. That was all my emotions, and it meant a lot at that time because you was all finna graduate, and I didn't have no money. I was gonna go to college. I didn't know if that's what I really wanted to do. You know, is either you play ball or you stay here. You play ball, you go work at a restaurant, and I'm like, it has to be more. So I understand when you put a lot of work into something, and then when you see it flourish, it means a lot. And I feel like when people out here stripping from other people artistry, whether it's poetry, music, writing, any type of art or creativity that someone has to put into it, I feel like that's basically saying I don't know myself.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, you stole my poem, but that's mine. That's me. Who are you? You know, so that tells me you don't know yourself. Like, you got to jump on that wave and jump on that wave. But like you said, in poetry, it's so many types of poetry that you can fall in either one of those or multiple.
Yes.
You know, so that's fire, man.
Dang, Shaw, that's crazy. Wow.
It's okay. I almost lost my mind in school, but it's okay. I got it back though. That's all I cared about. I ain't going to class. I ain't gonna talk to them. I want my book, bro. Give me my paper.
Wow.
It's gonna be okay. It's just a poem. No, I got recognized for this. I can't let it go. I couldn't, because I don't want to be like years down the line and I see it pop up somewhere.
Yes.
Somebody getting nominated. I'm like, I got a little certificate, but you got nominated for my poem.
Right. Oh my God.
Yeah, but my mom, after that, my mom started telling us different ways of how to put things on paper, like find you a signature and then write your signature on it, because I always put my initials on it. So that was easy to tear off and say someone else. After that, it taught me a lot, and I found my own way to do a signature. So every poem I'll put a signature to it, and then my signature closing of a poem is walking in the cold world alone. All right, I could be talking about something totally different, but I'm gonna hit that line every time, walking along. And after that, like, it was easy to say, yo, this is mine. You can't take it because I signed everything, you know. So that was, I think in that time was a big lesson for me, because I was open to showing people, like, yo, what do you think? What do you think? Because I wanted to be perfect, that I didn't.
Yes, but it was nothing even wrong with that. Like, that's not even a bad thing. She was foul. Yeah. She was foul. Like,
but it's okay. I got it back. So I was like, as long as she don't get credit for mine,
word.
You know, because poetry, like you said, it's a voice. And even though I do podcasts and I'm out here speaking and talking to people now, my mom to this day still can't believe I do it. She's like, I can't believe you have talked to all these people. And I was like, why? Because I didn't talk. I was, Maddie got me. Maddie was over here like, hey, I wouldn't even came to the camera. And if my mom had told me come to the camera, I would have did just much of peace. I would have said nothing. Like, I was not a social person. Even in high school, working at McDonald's, I would get my mom to call in for me. Mom, can you call me? Like, I hated talking to people. It's because I had to realize I hated rejection. So that kept me from talking to people, because I felt like everybody was gonna brush me off, you know? My mom taught me through college, like, look, no, go hear the word no. Hear them say no, because I said no 1,000 times, but it's not clicking. So with that, I start hearing no, but every time I hear no, I just revamp. Let me go re-strategize.
Wait for that, yes.
Yeah, and if somebody eventually say, yes, I'll help you. Bet,
Exactly.
you know. So now I'm like, oh, well, you don't want to be a part of this? Okay, cool. I'm going to the next person. Oh, you don't want to be a part of this? Okay, cool. Yes, bet. Let's do it. Like I'm not scared to talk now.
Right.
You know, but at first I was just a little cutie. When I talk, I'm like, you can't get me on the camera. My wife has helped me out so much with the camera stuff. Yes. She did theater in school. So she's a theater kid. All right. So creativity is all in here. Our living room is like our production.
Yes.
You know? So, hey, she's all theater and everything. And she put me in front of the camera. And even on some of my old videos, I'd be like,
I feel the same way. I know a little cringy. It's hard to watch yourself. You be like, oh my God.
Yeah. Hey, that's many times I got mad at my wife. She's like, and action. I'm like, I'm telling her, she can record my attitudes. I'm like, I don't feel like this today. She's like, it's not about you. You got to do it. I'm like, I ain't gonna do it. I don't want to do it. And I'm telling her now we should do takes like over and over and over and over and over. And now she just tells me, hey, do it like this, and boom, action. And I got it.
Yes.
So yes. I feel like I'm elevating when it comes to coming out this box, you know.
Yes,
taking that
step by step. Yes.
Yeah. Taking that poetry voice and using it for light, you know.
Yes.
And that's what's like why it's called created P.E.G. I wanted to create a light that I can stand in, you know, because I've done multiple things in life, basketball, I've toured the world, military, and I didn't feel fulfilled. Like you said, I didn't, if you asked me, Shaw, what you want to do? My thing was, I wanted to be in the military till 20 years. That was just a career. But if you say what you want to do, I couldn't tell you. I just had certificates. I had bachelors over here. Yes. I'm going for my master's. I'm doing all this. But what do you want to do? I'm like, I just want to help people. You know, I was heavy in the healthcare world, heavy. And once my grandma passed away, and then I got injured in the military, it was like, healthcare was like gone, right? Because now I can't even be in the healthcare setting because I have a low immune system. So now I'm like, something that I worked hard for 10 plus years, which is healthcare. I was a healthcare administrator, and I can create policies and programs like it was nothing. Now they're saying you can't do it. You can't come and be in the facility. You're at high risk. So I was like, what am I good for? COVID hit, and I'm like, now I can't do 9 to 5. Look, 9 to 5, no more. They said 2020, you off the floor. I'm 27 now, so I'm like, yo, look, why my life is so hard. Not like you know, the same way your pregnancy pushed you. I was like, I don't want to go back to being depressed. I don't want to go back to being inside my mind. What can I do? Yes. And speaking was hard. So I'm like, dang, talking to people was hard. So I'm like, I want to spread positivity to others and uplift others. And look, from the first person that said yes, I've been getting more yeses. I've got some no's and I got yes. And it just seemed like now I'm starting to elevate with the people, you know, more people that are doing more impactful things around the world.
Wow.
And now starting off with just was 20 people. Now it's over thousands of people tuning into the P.E.G podcast to get some uplift. So I'm with the positivity. I'm with the pushing yourself because like you said, man, the kids, they're watching. And they're pushing us. They're pushing us.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I've noticed that with kids, when I present self-publishing to them, they are very receptive. And they are like, I want to own my own publishing company. I want to, be the one that's the publisher. And it's just, they're way more engaged because what we grew up, was, you try to get a publishing contract with one of the big publishing companies. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what we were, have been striving for. That was in my mind what I was going to do, when I was ready, whatever that meant. But, with these kids now, they're like, okay, so, how did you do this? What did you do? Oh, okay, KDP. All right, so I got to create an account. Oh, all right, are there other platforms? Oh, okay, I have to. They're just on it. And I'm just like, wow, like it's just there's no fear. There's no, what ifs or like they're just ready. And I'm like, wow, like that's so dope. I just had my first child author client, 10 years old. 10 years old, and she's a published author now.
Let's go.
And it's just like, wow, it's crazy. It's amazing.
That's so dope.
Yes.
We got our kids, they're doing about the same thing. They're learning like different things that they want to do with their creativity.
Yes.
And our oldest daughter, she really blows me because some of the things that she wished for, it comes true. And I'm like, hold on. Cause I tell her all the time, your words are powerful. Like,
yes.
We had went to the mansion and we stayed. And she was like, "Oh, I wanna love all animals, even the weird ones." And I'm like, "Okay." And she's like, "Well, mommy, can I have a squirrel?" And I'm like, yeah, sure." Not me knowing, like, yeah, sure, you can have whatever you want. That like not even 20 minutes. We went to the park. Not even 20 minutes. This lady walked up to us with a baby squirrel, and I'm talking about her light, like. And I'm sitting there whoa. Like, I'm like, whoa. I had it recorded. I'm like, hey, look. And I replayed the video. I was like, dude, our daughter just asked us that 20 minutes ago for a squirrel. And she walks up with a baby squirrel. And I'm like, everything she says come to truth, like for real.
Wow.
She wished
that's amazing.
Rainbow. And we was traveling. She's like, I want to see a big rainbow. And we're traveling and going to the next state in Mississippi. And we're like, there's a big rainbow. And I'm talking about a black rainbow. I'm like, okay, can you stop it?
Yes, girl. What kind of powers did you have?
I don't know. Because she'll come to me like, I want a dolphin. I'm like, look. Stop asking me for stuff that I don't even know how to get. I don't know where to get a dolphin from. I told my wife,
oh my God,
just pop up out of nowhere. I'm running away because she got some powers that I need to figure out how she's
doing. Does she want to be a veterinarian?
She wants to be a veterinarian. She's an animal lover. She said she wants to own her own business and she wanted to pack the
girl.
And she wants to help people. She's a very caring person.
That's amazing. Yes, Sean, girl.
Yes, so she loves people. She's not a social, but she's very social, but don't know that she's social, right? So she's very loving and hugging, and she'll be she'll be right here, and she's always on me. So when we try to tell all the time, like, yo, be careful what you say and think about what you say, because then you got me over here trying to fulfill what you got going.
Trying to get a dolphin.
I was like, where we gonna put it?
Exactly.
In the pool? Like I don't think dolphins do well, and just I don't.
No.
I don't think I can take that. I had to go pray. I was like, Lord, please don't send me a dolphin. I don't want it. Don't send me a dolphin.
Wow. Oh man, that's amazing.
Yeah. These kids these days surprise me all the time.
Yes.
So shout out to Miss Lady, 10-year-old.
Yes, girl.
Book publisher. I'm proud of you, girl. Because there's people out there that needs to be writing a book right now, but they're like, I don't know where to start.
Yes.
Pick up a pen, pick up a piece of paper, and look.
That's where you start.
Y'all better shout out to my girl AKOSUA. Yeah.
AKOSUA.
I'm getting closer.
AKOSUA.
I'm getting closer. Look, AKOSUA gonna help y'all. Y'all gotta reach out, man. Look, y'all gotta reach out. Ask her how she do it. So with all these clients and people that you've been working with, and even with yourself, and you coming from an advocate background, what would you say would be the big culture difference that you had to learn to adjust with?
Oh man. The biggest cultural difference, I would say, navigating, the culture within my home, within the four walls, and then when I leave.
Okay.
So, my mom mostly spoke Tree, which is a language that, the Akan people speak in Ghana. And that was how we communicated in the house. The food was also different. And for me, there was, tension there, because the one thing I will say, my elementary school was definitely very driven on Black history, Black pride, Black culture. We celebrated Kwanzaa elementary school.
Hey.
I know. Middle school, it was a little different, and high school was very different. I went to a predominantly Hispanic high school. And so I was able to see where the commonalities are, because at the end of the day, we're Black, right? And so that was the phenomenon that I had to navigate of, I'm still checking the box African American, just like everybody else,
Right.
although I'm African. And so for me, I've had to figure out where we are in that conversation, because that conversation can be complex. And I know everyone has their take and their perspective. But for me, it was like, okay, come to my home. My mom is cooking. And that's something we all can, gather around and relate to. Braid my hair, because, my hair is the same texture as yours, sis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was just bridging that gap, trying to navigate that conflict as much as possible. Because I will say, people hold on to the most negative stereotypes of being Black and what that means. And that just wasn't, my reality. And it wasn't something that made sense for me to latch onto, because I'm in the culture, and any child wants to blend in. All children want to blend in.
True.
And so for me, it was like, okay, well, I see, that there's cultural differences, but at the end of the day, we still eat food. We still, you got your, I go to the African braiding lady too. You go to the African braiding lady on 125th Street, And so it's just that conversation of, here's how I grew up. Here's my mom. And people love my mom. People loved coming to my house. And I was able to build, my community. And I think that was the biggest thing, having the hyphenated identity and, unifying it, because to me, it never was different. It's just our history. There's no intersection in school where we go and we get to, actually build on that, or actually have a conversation. I'm having this conversation in a podcast, but I didn't have a conversation like this in school. And so it's just a totally different, way of life that, now for me, I was able to write a collection of poems to talk about these things, because for me, I still see myself as being Black. And African is, the continent that, that makes me who I am, a woman of the motherland, if you will. And, that's my anatomy, that's my makeup, that's my genetics. I can't control that. But I still see how Harlem is a melting pot of so many of these different cultures that still, show Black pride. And there's the remnants of African pride within that too. It's just, having the conversations of where we can relate to each other. When I talk about Ghana and talk about Harlem, I don't see it as something that's necessarily different anymore. The way I had a hard time struggling with when I was younger. To me, those identities are the same. Right. So, yeah.
Man, that's crazy. Now you may be able to put that into schools. You should do like a nonprofit and be able to bring that into the school.
Yes, I did a lesson plan, and I would love. Yes, I would love to. I'm working on that. Those things I would love to do, because I had a friend invite me to speak to her kids, and there are Ghanaian kids in there who can relate, who are growing up in the Bronx, and so those experiences, I think, help contribute to that conversation of what it is to be Black, because it's such a huge topic in itself.
It is. And I think it's beautiful, because I feel like all cultures have Black in them. I'm just saying, that's just me. I feel like it's Latina, you're Puerto Rican, you're gonna run up on a mixed child somewhere with Black in them. So it's like, like you said, even if I don't, your hair is nappy like mine. So if your hair is nappier than mine, you're Black. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're orange. I'm gonna say you're the same color because you got nappy roots and I got nappy roots. Right. So look, everybody out here with nappy roots. It's all good. It's all right. Everybody's just out here relaxing it. Some people relaxing. That's all. That's all. Even the white people, they're not white. They're just high complexion. I love the Black culture. I do. It's so much in it. It's so much pride in it. And I love that you're out here pushing Black love, love 54. You're out here pushing
Absolutely.
it. And you let people know, even the kids know, like, it doesn't matter where you come from. You from Ghana, you from Africa, you Ethiopian,
Yes.
or you just raised in the US and we don't know who we are.
Yes. Right.
You're still Black.
Exactly.
I was like, Mom,
Yeah, man. Because
Right.
the one thing I struggle with the most, I have a friend, she, when we're talking about just, growing up, she was like, you have a lineage. You're able to say, my great, great, great grandmother or my family's from here. And she's like, we don't have that.
Nope.
That stops at my nana. And that's tough to grapple with because that's a part of the history that, shapes our stories. And it's crazy. But, those conversations do really matter.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us should find out where we're from, especially the ones from the U.S. that was born in the U.S. don't really know about their cultural background. Because you'd be surprised. I get cussed out about my skin. I'm like, it's just skin. They're like, oh my God, your skin is so clear. And I got cussed out literally about my skin. I'm like, I didn't use anything but soap and water. And they're like, nah, I want my skin like you. Give me the remedy. I'm like, I use soap and water. That's it. I'm like, what? Where are you from? You're not from here. Now you're gonna put me out the U.S. because I'm not from here. I was born here.
What, you're from another country?
Right?
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, so because my skin is clear, I'm from another country. Thank you. Right. I appreciate that. I'll make sure I tell my granddaddy, let him know that y'all kicked us out of there.
You got good genes. Right? Wow.
Like, you're African. I'm like, somewhere in there.
Right. Yes.
I got told I would smell like I was Ethiopian. I'm like,
wow.
How you smell like you from I was over there in the Middle East when somebody told me that they was actually from over there in Africa. And she's braiding my hair. She's like, oh my God, you have beautiful hair. Braiding my hair. And she's like, you smell Ethiopian. What? Well, what does the U.S. smell like? I want to know what Africans smell like. I smell like Ethiopian.
Right.
What does Ghana smell like? I don't know. I never got that. I was like, thank you.
Wow.
I wonder how many other Black people out there are, whatever your nationality are, just like how many other people hear weird stuff when it comes to
that. Man. Like, yes.
I'm just Black.
Right. Right.
Look, dig my granddaddy up and tell him about himself. I don't know. I can't fuss with him now. He ain't here. Right. When I've showed people my granddaddy's picture, he's dark. Ooh, he's dark. And I show them their picture, they're like, he had good skin. I'm like, I had to get it from somewhere. They're like,
right.
I'm talking about he chocolate, and with the skin here. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. He probably wasn't from here, but
he's probably from Ghana.
Right?
He probably from Ghana.
He probably is. Right? He probably is. He got that glistening skin like you. He probably is. I don't know.
Right. Wow, that's amazing.
He was quiet.
That's amazing.
He should have wrote a book.
He should have. Oh my goodness. Wow.
He should have wrote a book. So what's some future projects for you? What you got coming out in the future?
I'm celebrating my 28th birthday, July 11th. I can't wait. I'm bringing it in with a virtual poetry slam. I will be changing that to a poetry jam because it's not competition. It's just a celebration. And I'm, learning the vernacular. So I will be celebrating that. I have featured performers and I also have an open mic section for people to come talk their shit.
Hey.
And I will be working on an urban novel. That's something that I've been wanting to do for some time now. And so I have to, begin to do the necessary research behind that and get myself in order so I can get back to that writing schedule to be able to actually put out a book. So that's what I'm working on.
And we gotta keep that out, y'all. Yo, make sure y'all go and tell my girl AKOSUA. Tell her happy birthday. All right, let her know that look, her presence on earth is definitely cherished. Give her her flowers, y'all, because she's a beautiful flower herself. So y'all better go get her some flowers. I'm gonna make sure they don't tell you that birthday.
I will.
Hey, I like that you're still out there just being a light. So celebrate your birthday because no day is promised. And you can do a poetry stuff. I'm gonna have to link up. You know what I'm saying?
I'll send you the flyer. I'll send you the flyer because you can pull up. I'd love to hear you perform. Okay.
I'm happy to ask my wife to come back over here and help me out. I get nervous when it comes to poetry. I start to shake. I be like,
really? No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I swear. It was in Atlanta and we had did an event. And I didn't know it was so many people in the room that did poetry until we actually I was like, what do you do? And he was like, poetry. I'm like, no, you don't know no poetry. Let me see. And he was like, I'll spit it. And I'm like, how cool. He was like, I'll spit it. I'm like, spit it for me. Let me see. I don't want to read it. I want you to say it how you wrote it. And I'm talking about when he did it, he like punched me. He was like, I was like, ooh, okay.
Yes.
And then he was like, your turn.
Okay.
Huh? He like, man, I know you. I got it in my phone. Yeah. All right.
Yo, that memorization.
No, yeah.
Oh my God, I have so much respect. So much respect for these spoken word artists. I'm getting there. Okay, I'm getting there. But to spit off the dome.
Oh yeah, out the dome. Right. And he was like, I know you got that one piece you remember. I'm like, I remember, but you got to turn your head. Look at the
Oh my God, not turn your head.
Look at the wall. Just do it real quick for me to stop. And then he was cool about it. He turned around, but then as I started getting into it, he was looking like right here. But I had zoned out. My eyes was closed. I had zoned out.
Into it.
Yeah, he was like, so you telling me you scared to say that? Oh, we about to fight, man. What's going on? I was like, people, I don't know. I get the jitters, bro. I kind of shut down a little bit.
I get nervous too. I can't even lie. I get nervous too.
You gotta come out with. I feel like when you get nervous, that's the devil. Like, oh, you better fold. You better fold. That's how I feel now. Yes. So when I get nervous about stuff, I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's just do it.
Yes.
And my wife is looking at me like, calm down. It's okay.
It's true.
I'm like, I gotta do it before the devil come on here and persuade me not to do it.
Right.
Yeah, we gotta link up with the poetry. I love that.
Definitely.
We're gonna be looking out for everything you got coming in the future because I'm always be here to uplift you.
Same. I will be listening to your Spotify today.
Yeah. I want to talk about why did you write and publish the back of? I don't make me butcher this word, but you said back to, and it started with a K.
Yes, Kukurantumi.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna butcher that.
That's all right.
Why did you write that book? Like, why did you publish that?
Well, that definitely was the first book that I knew I could put out because I had already, it was my senior thesis project. Right. And once I got fired, I knew, okay, you can actually go back to these poems. You actually have a collection of work and you don't have to start from scratch. So that's what made me, reach back out and say, all right, let's lay all this out. What are the poems that you have? What do you want to add? What do you want to edit? What do you want to take away? And I wanted to be able to just, put that out to the world, especially once I actually was ready to self-publish. That was the first book that I knew I wanted to publish. So I went through it. I went for it.
Did you have any writer's block? Because that's real. Writer's block.
Oh, real. Yeah. Very real. And yes, I absolutely did have writer's block. So I actually, to get over that, I have different tips and tricks. But the most impactful one, I actually went to this event. And I was pregnant. I went to this event and with hubby, and there were a panel of artists, comedians. It was a variety. And there was one specific lady. Her name was Shauna Solomon. She actually was there to talk about writing. She had wrote a YouTube series called The Closet Bitch. And they opened up a Q&A. And I asked her about writer's block and how she gets through it. And her what she said was just so impactful to me. She said, literally, I just started and I would look at the page and I didn't know what to write. And she said, eventually I just started writing, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. Repeatedly, she said, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. Until eventually she started to write. Yeah. And it would come to her. So she'll be like, in those days where I have no creativity and I don't know what to write, I'm still going to write that down. I don't have any creativity today. I don't have any motivation today. I don't have any inspiration today. Just to get that muscle memory of just writing and being honest of not just staring at the paper, racking your brain about you not, being creative, just being real and writing that down. And that resonated with me so much where I was just like, dang, like that makes so much sense to where I copied that. And I was, in the moments where I didn't know what to write, that's what I don't know what to write. Today was stressful. Today was tough. I'm not really feeling like writing a bunch of words. And that's what I'm writing. That's my creativity for that day. Until eventually I would be able to, get that creativity and that spark. It's important to change your environment too for us writers. Yeah. Switching it up, going out into the world, going out into nature, getting that natural influence. Because the one thing that I started to, like to do is, I live in New York City. It's crazy people everywhere. Let me take it all in, and I'll observe people and I'll start writing. You know what I'm saying? And that's, my way of getting over writer's block. And I'll go in a park, look in the water, getting in the smells. And that would be my motivation of whatever I'm trying to force myself to do. Get over that. Let that go. Let it flow. And writer's block is natural too. So I'm not going to beat myself up about it either. I just need to be self-aware and, be able to make that connection. Like, you know what? Maybe I need to go to the coffee shop today. You know what? Maybe I need to go to the library. Maybe I need to read. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that I have to do. And that's the advice that I've gotten for writer's block.
I see where you're going, because I swear when I have writer's block, I just stop. I'll walk away. And especially
walking away is actually that's good too. Good. Sometimes you do got to walk away.
Cause and when I write my poetry, I can go line for line, then I'll get to the point I don't like that.
It's not right.
Flowing, you know when it's flowing because you just typed it. And you can do like 3 to 4 poems is just flowing. Then you got it. But if I stay too long on one paragraph, I'll stop it and then I'll put it over there. And then I'm like, ooh, come back tomorrow or 2 days later. And I especially music too. I'm working on a project right now and I started writing it. And then when I got to the next verse, I was like, I don't know what to write. I mean, I felt the poem over here, but I was like, So it's just sitting there, right? And I'll listen to the beat and I'll say that part of the poetry that I put in there over and over.
Right.
And if I said it good 4 or 5 times and nothing comes to me, I'm like, all right, well, today was just to rehearse that part, I guess.
Right.
I move on.
But that's good too. That's good too, because at least you still going back to it. You take your little break. You're like, you know what? I'll do this another day. And you go back to it though. Because that going back to it, it's like you didn't give up. You didn't give up.
That's true. It's like you gotta keep going. Right? The main story is to keep going no matter whatever you're doing. You're writing, you're acting, you're being yourself. Unapologetically, we're gonna mess up. We're gonna mess up too, So I applaud you. Don't make me mess it up. AKOSUA.
No T. AKOSUA.
AKOSUA.
Yes.
All right, AKOSUA.
Yes.
I applaud you, AKOSUA, that been out here, just being a beautiful light to so many people. And you have dropped so many gems. If they ain't caught it by now, just replay it. Put it on repeat until you got my girl down pat, because she's definitely be giving gems, and she's here to uplift you guys, motivate you guys. So look, what would you say to the people out there listening right now? And if they want to do what you're doing, or they want to jump out there in the water, but they're a little bit too scared, they need a little bit more push. What would you say to them right now?
I would say just write it down. Just write it down, however it comes out. and don't stop, because I mean, I understand when you write something down and you look back at it, it can shock you. You might even surprise yourself, but just keep going. And if you need to get assistance, you know, if you need to get therapy, a coach, do that for you.
Do that.
So yeah, I would say, yeah.
Hey, yo, I know y'all waiting around for AKOSUA's Instagram and social media, so I'm gonna give it an opportunity to give it to y'all, especially the ones that stay tapped in to uplift their frequencies. So go ahead, AKOSUA, tell everybody what's your social media.
Definitely, yeah. So my social media on all platforms is at I'm_AKOSUA. I'm_AKOSUA. I'm_AKOSUA on all social media platforms.
Hey, in the building, y'all. And look, I told y'all, Maddie is gonna rule the world. So if y'all see
yes,
future President Maddie,
shout out to Maddie.
Hey, just know I said it before it happened. I saw the future. She gonna be out here changing the world, and we appreciate you coming on, sharing your smile, sharing your light.
Yes.
Podcast, and look, keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop.
Sure.
No, you got my blessings. Everybody that's around you be like, nah, I'm not rocking with it. I'm rocking with you till the wheels fall off, because we need each other.
Thank you, girl.
Always. Look, keep
yes. Thank you for having me again.
Always. Don't thank you for taking your time out, because I value time. So I appreciate you taking your time out.
Of course.
Got a handful. I can see that already. But look, keep going. You're a blessing and you're a light. So don't let nobody dim your light. And if nobody tell y'all today, tomorrow, yesterday that they love y'all, know that Shar loves y'all. AKOSUA loves y'all. Look, Maddie loves y'all.
Yes.
Loves y'all. And the P.E.G podcast family love y'all. So if y'all say you hate us, guess what? We still love you. Can't do nothing about it. Nah. Hey, nah. Can't do nothing about it. Oh, yeah. Nah. Can't do nothing about it. And we hope you guys live to inspire. Keep pushing. Keep living. And we love y'all. Stay blessed, y'all.